Welcome everyone. Thank you for coming and attending. This is the beginning of a process. This isn't a dictatorship. This is a community, and this is a process. And if we come out of this sometimes with more questions than answers, that's okay. It's a process. And if you really have to get concrete answers, we can talk about that as well. We're here, I've probably got a different thing going on in my head than what some people do. So I'm going to jump into I like to have a little bit of background to lay out things for the discussion. So, some people probably came here just to talk about what they've heard in a concrete way about moving and changing or painting or tables or op shop moving. So there is some concrete things that we've proposed. But I think because this is a process and this is a community and this is also it's not just about the destination, it's about the journey. Because we're here as part of a discipleship process. We're here because we're called. This is not some government juggernaut or a secular organisation that has fundings and we have criteria to meet and KPIs. This is organic, and I can't do this by myself. I'm not Jesus, even though Sherry will probably tell you otherwise. So this is just an open discussion, and I'm just going to lay out a little bit. So, I'm not too sure where I'm going to start or where I'm going to end up. But I do have some concrete things to get to at the end. But I just want to lay down a little bit of theory so that people can understand where I'm coming from. I would hate people to think that I'm just a loose cannon. I am a loose cannon, but I'm not just a loose cannon. So could we pass them around? So this discipleship process, even though I wrote it down a couple of years ago and I've been passing it around, more importantly, I've been implementing it, and I've been implementing it before I got here. Okay, it's been something in process for a long time. And if I only printed out 15, so if you want to share between couples or whatever, I can print out more if you're interested. So I'm not going to explain that necessarily straight away, but if you can just picture that this is part of the central thought process that we're coming from. So it's a bit like the spine. We might have some other things coming off the spine and nerves and muscles and other things. Because as a church, and not just this particular church, but as a church universal, we all have a mandate, and that mandate is to manifest God, to make disciples. Now, making disciples is a very religious term. I would say making friends and allies, partnerships that share the same values, that share the same divine energy, divine spark, divine purpose. So you might disagree on a lot of peripheral things, but you never have to agree on everything. And if you're in a space or a church or a place where everyone has to agree on everything, run. It's probably a cult. Okay? So this is the place where we're going to do things together as a community. So the thing about this place as well is that there's a lot of history here. And I haven't dealt with a lot of history up until coming to St. Mary's. Most places I've been at have been church plants with no origin, no generational stories, no no ancient, well not ancient, but no old Bibles sitting around in filing cabinets. There's some cool stuff that we found. So there's a lot of history that we want to connect with, that we want to honour, that we want to display, that we want to have as a living part of who we are. When I started here, I came in with a very different viewpoint than what I've ever had in other churches. Second time around. First time around, I was a bull in a china shop. Second time around, I was humbled. So I've sat back and I've looked and I've listened and I've watched to everything that's going on, and I've been open to God doing things. And He's brought in people, He's brought in situations, He's brought in something like the food bank. You know, I'm going to speak from a place of faith. So that was just an out of the blue thing, right? And we could have honestly sat back and said, oh, well, they're not going to disrupt our project centre, because that's my project centre, and that's my space, and that's my legacy, or that's where I find my identity or my attachment. But that was a part of this process. Now, the things that I've proposed are a bit more of an ongoing thing. So I'm just going to put up a few things on the board. Now, I'm going to give a disclaimer. I'm sorry if this gets a little boring or long or theoretical. I'll try not to. I'll try and keep it on the ball. But because we're recording this, and you can look back at it. So if you switch off, that's cool. Don't roll your eyes at me, because William does that and I can't stand it. Just pretend to listen, okay?
Just close and go to sleep.
That's okay as well. In fact, some of us, no, I won't encourage you to do that. I said I'd be on my best behaviour. But more than anything, I want people to feel included. And it's not just, it's everyone. From Helen, who's one of our oldest members here, to someone that walked in last week, included. And given the same before God, we're not all equal in a flat way, we're equal in value. But to have that openness to see where God can take us. So this is something that I've been working on internally in my department. From day dot, when I kind of came in here, I was only going to come in, and I wouldn't say if I could do it my way, but to me it had to be God's way, a missional way, a pastoral way, a person-centered way, a therapeutic way, and that was my ethos. So my ethos is what we believe. Our culture is how we act together. Our systems, to me it makes sense, but I had to try and write it in a different way. It's our concrete, it's just our concrete ways of doing things. So it's policies, it's procedures, it's common sense, our systems. And then our outcomes is our feedback loop. You know, how's it going? Is this effective? Is this working? Are we making mistakes? And so these are the 4 things that I started to look at and think about. Because not everything, when I came here, it's not like we had to scrap the place and start from scratch, because no, there was lots of little minor adjustments and minor little angles and lots of it. And I was growing and changing. So the two things that I always put when I go to core beliefs, and I think it's going to sound strange on one hand, but if you can hear it maybe explained as we go, So, now if you get involved in any kind of organised religion these days, if you walk in off the street and like, oh, I want to be part of a church or whatever, you'll find out that in the wider world there is conflict and people arguing with each other and having within the churches, whatever they can argue about and disagree with, they will. It's almost like a bunch of teenagers that have to have their identity in opposition to someone else. So we're not like those down the road, we're better, and we're not like them over there, we do things better. The early church, the things that they worked out over the centuries in the councils, and it's a little technical, but hear me out. Trinity and incarnation. Now I'm not going to go deep into that, other to give you a few practical things, right? Because this is a mystery, centuries. So Trinity is God is relational. So as part of our culture, I was always people first. All right. If I have to get stopped and the lunch gets a little late, I don't really care if somebody gets their knickers in a twist. If someone needs my help, I'm there. Okay. People over process. Right. So Trinity is relational. Trinity is core, and Trinity. I won't get into that there. Another thing about Trinity is there's the concept of overflow. If you have a strict monotheistic God, then you have a God up there and us down here, what's in between? Okay? If you look at Judaism or you look at Islam, the thing in between is a whole bunch of laws, a holy book, and a prophet or whatever. So, Trinity, well, I won't get on incarnation, but Trinity is about a God that is entangled in our everyday life, a God that is involved. So when we cook food here, or when we pull some veggies out the garden, or we sit down and have a coffee, we're doing real spirituality. It's entangled, it's relational, it's people first, okay? It values that as a core ethos. What was I going to say about Trinity? So, having said that, Trinity, and I won't get too far in the weeds, there's a concept of what I call overflow. Overflow. So, if you have a monotheistic God, his motive for maybe creating is, I need some pipsqueaks to give me, or worship me. I need, I don't know how to put it. Like, when we look at God who is above and mysterious, we think only wants me to worship him and obey him. We can associate that with maybe an abusive parent or a controlling person in our lives. That's not a Trinitarian God. Trinitarian God creates out of an overflow of Father, Son, and Holy Spirit. All right? Now, that's important as we get along, because that is the motive for what I would call mission. The go and make disciples. All right? It's not sit there and do your church thing. It's go. It's get out of your comfort zone. Get out of your little square world. Be challenged. Engage. Right? If you look at that, our charts there. I'm going to keep moving quick. Incarnation. The word means enfleshment. It means put skin on. Having an incarnational spirituality means God is among us. What does it look like to have God among us? What does it really look like? All right. It doesn't look like a top-heavy person that's putting out laws and policies and whatnot. Sometimes it could be conflict. Sometimes there could be disagreements. Sometimes there could be, oh, that person just, oh mate, that one person, right? Incarnational spirituality is about what's it like to do spirituality with skin on. It's real, it's grounded, it's practical, all right? There's always going to be a practical outcome. Yeah. Culture. So, One of the things that I really feel is a fundamental thing is about, and this is what I've had from the beginning, it's an old concept from God's, this is going to get messy, isn't it? Blessed to be a blessing. If you look at the original, the Old Testament, when God called Abraham to be the people of God and found new people of God, the covenant was, you're blessed to be a blessing. I'll pour out, I'll give, I'll reveal myself and my love and my ways to you, as long as you let it flow through you. As long as it doesn't stop with you. If it stops with you and never goes beyond you, the blessing will cease. So, and Israel found that multiple times when they turned to idols or when they exploited foreigners and they didn't look after the vulnerable and the poor. The blessing stopped and the judgment started. Right? It's Old Testament. We're not Old Testament, but there's an accountability here that if we do have resources and time, and that there's an accountability, right? We're blessed to be a blessing. So the other thing about culture is, especially here in Picket Fence, I'm just putting this out there, it might not be that, it's what we work with, is we try and be as generous as we can be. That's your default setting. Like, we can't feed everyone, we can't do everything, we can't even fix most things. We don't. We just can't. But with what we have, with our resources, we be as generous as we can. Because we're trying to be incarnational, we're trying to be missional, we're trying to be relational, we're trying to somehow allow people to catch a glimmer of the love of God reaching out, of God with skin on. Alright? So I'll move a little bit quicker. So systems is probably what we're going to be looking at a little bit. So I wanted to lay some of that stuff out first, just to know that there's thought behind it, reflection, movement, motive. Okay? This is not a flash in the pan exercise. And a lot of stuff that we're kind of putting out now has already been in a process. It's kind of coming out a little bit in different ways because I never thought I don't know. Haven't done it before. Yeah? I'm gonna wipe a bit off the board. I probably will leave that, hang on, no, so systems, all right. So having said all that, what does it look like with skin on, all right? And I'm gonna go back to, I'm just gonna borrow that for a second. So, if we think about Trinity and incarnation is God reaching out to the broken, the lost, those caught in shame, addiction, those who just want a place to belong, those who want to grow and mature, be a part of the community. Whatever the motive is, the basic thing is, how do we begin? Where do we begin? I've talked to people and they're like, what do we even do? Where do we begin? So this is not a perfect model. This is just a guide. All right, it's something, but something's better than nothing. Yeah. So contact. So one of the first things that I looked at doing was increasing literally the amount of foot traffic through here. Yeah, increase foot traffic. Right. The thing that I wanted to avoid in our culture. Echo chambers.
What do you mean by that?
When you're stuck in your own little world, nothing else starts to you're happy, you're safe. You've got exactly what you need, you've got it the way that you want it. Therefore, anything that's going to bring change to that is going to be seen as a threat. An echo chamber doesn't filter and have outside voices and outside needs. Right?
Jesus wasn't an echo chamber. He got out there and he helped and was generous and did what he could.
They broke echo chambers.
Self-interest.
Yeah, broke echo chambers.
That's right.
So if and it's almost like I learned years ago that there's almost a direct correlation between like individuals and cultures. You can see the same traits in an individual, you can see the same traits in a culture grouped together. When you get people together, what we do together, culture, see the same things. And a lot of churches that I went to, I saw what I would call corporate narcissism. Right? They're happy for you to come along and belong, participate, as long as there was something in it for them. A tithe, come to their church to get bums on seats, to, I don't want to strip them all down, but
Glorify them.
a lot of them, yeah, I'm not, but they were out of touch
They weren't
with,
embodying Jesus.
they were out of touch with the outside world. So there's another one, ivory towers. You know, incarnation is down, humility in not in the gutter, it can be in the gutter. Yeah.
In the mud.
So what's ivory tower?
Ivory tower is those who sit above on high and send out emails. Oh, you remember to do this and do that and blah blah blah. And that's not a criticism of some administration types that are great at it. Sarita, she's great at that. That's a gift. But people that don't want to get their hands dirty,
Yeah.
they love. You know, the Apostle Paul said there are many teachers but not many fathers. Right?
Yeah.
Relational. All right. Everyone wants to have an opinion. Nobody wants to get in and do the discipleship, which is
And
relational.
Selfish
Messy.
ambition.
Yeah, we talk about all that stuff.
And they
Um,
don't have the shepherd's heart.
If you could modernize
Because he
Jesus,
teaches.
Jesus would be someone who works, like doing behind the desk sending out emails, but he also would get up off his bum and go out to the average man and just say, hey, you doing good? Here's a loaf of bread. Don't worry about it. I'll sort some more out. He doesn't just sit there on his bum.
Yeah.
He gets out there. He looks at all of you guys and says, hey, come on, show some love. Get out there, do the right thing.
Who is this then?
So,
Jesus.
Yeah, that's right.
I'll just try and stay a little bit so we can speak through for the sake of the recording, and then we can have a bit more open discussion. I'm not. All I'm going to say is these are shadow sides of all organisations, and all of us. Shadow sides. We all do it. Okay. It's not a judgment on anyone. It's something to be aware of, and to actually have things in place. The go and make disciples. Like the going is the uncomfortable bit. It's the risky bit. It's the I don't know if we have enough money, or I don't know if I'm going to be safe, or I don't know if I'm going to be looked after, or if it's going to work. Guess what? It's a journey. It's a marathon, and it's an adventure. And that's why we're kind of trying to get people involved in a new adventure. We're trying to get people involved to have some agency in bringing about some fresh expressions, some different ideas. Having said that, I'm going to jump into some concrete stuff right now. How about that? So we can move along. So the actual proposal that I came up with, a little bit to do with our systems where we were running originally when Anglicare was here, there were two halls because there were two separate entities with two managing bodies. They worked in partnership together, they worked well, and whatever reason, post-COVID, they pulled out. It was up for the church to fill in a massive gap, okay? And yeah, that's enough background. If you have any questions, we can talk about that. But one of the things about our culture, blessed be a blessing, it's also understanding our resources and trying to maximise our resources, being faithful with our resources. So, so for me, the idea of having an upgrade or an improved space, I mean, this is just not a great example, but I mean, look, I've put skateboards up, all right? I don't know why. I just wanted to put something different, bit of change, bit of character.
Bit of artwork.
It's just they're all like Christians, like they're all stories behind these decks and whatnot. So there's a talking point or whatever, just something different, right? But if you look at churches and cathedrals and sacred spaces, they're very intentional, right? And they're made to be intentional so that we can have reverence or encounter God, or even, you know, if you go to a different style of worship, they might have more of a concert style where it's dim dim and it's lighting, and you've got a concert with professional musicians on stage.
Pentecostal Christians.
So the great thing about that is that people coming in with no experience of church, that don't hit up hard against culture, that they don't understand, it's like going to a concert. They have less inhibition because the lights are dim, so I don't feel self-aware that people are looking at me, all right? And they have people to, the scene is set to open you up emotionally to engage.
They're also being entertained.
Well,
Yeah.
I mean, unless you're, I don't want to get too far into faith development, things like that. What's important is that they saw a way to tap in. Now, what they did with those big audiences, that's not for me to judge. But they created spaces that were welcoming, that were, and I'm not trying to say that that's what we're going to do. I'm trying to say that spaces are important. There's been a lot of prayer and thought put into spaces where we meet God. And also where the community meets with God. Because it's a reflection on us. So if we're spending hundreds of thousands of dollars on upgrades to particular buildings, because I'm not saying we do it or it happens, there's heritage listing, there's things that need to be repaired, right? And the community get the crumbs, all right? What's that saying to the community?
They don't deserve
values.
They
Can say, as long as I'm happy in my ivory tower with my style of worship that my parents did or my generation, whatever it is, as long as that's okay, the rest of you can get the crumbs and we can feel good about the crumbs. That's a handball,
Receive
sorry.
it back to God.
So what we do with our buildings and our spaces is also a message. It's sending out a message. It's saying we value you, we love you, we want to welcome you in. We want to give you a space where you feel comfortable, that's up to date, that's modern, that if we don't have a space that rivals a library or the church down the road, then we're in a deficit already. We have to make up for it. I'm not gonna say things that are gonna
But you
get me in
have
trouble.
up to with the shower, the food bank.
Yeah, so we're looking at meeting needs. That's a part of it. We're looking at meeting needs. So, all right, I'm going to get a bit into systems and I'll move a bit quicker. So to help this process of the contact and the engage, if we have 200 people plus going through our grounds a week that are in need, and we're not actually connecting with them, they're coming in when they need it. Our connections and our engagement have increased a lot. But I want to be diligent and maximise potential. I don't want to just. So moving our community centre down there and changing our systems a little bit. This is the way I see it. Right? Is the echo chamber here is, there's a meal at 12 o'clock, right? And those who know about the meal and know it's a good meal and you get plenty of feed and you can give Steve a bit of crap, they come along and enjoy the benefits, right? But they're not necessarily out there inviting their friends and family and promoting what we do here. They might be, but a lot of it is settled and it's not engaging a wider audience, right? So if we shifted what we do a little bit in our systems, instead of having the one meal, which I can't, you know how many complaints I get every day?
A lot.
It's not,
It's not this.
it's the rice is not cooked. This is everything, not salt, everything, right? It's not a problem, but the thing is you can't please everyone, right? And having a one meal fits all isn't always the best approach. It's not the only approach that we have to have, right? So if we go into that space, and you imagine that we have those double doors open and the outside area decked, the inside is nicely painted, new flooring, new decoration. It's set up like a cafe, so it's more familiar to people coming there for the first time, all right? I'll get a little bit into the separation between our emergency food assistance and our community centre. I'll get into that a little bit. But just picture, you've got to imagine someone stepping in for the first time. All right, how are they seeing? What are they feeling? Do they feel safe? Do they feel welcome? Does it feel clean, looked after? all those things.
Well, so word of mouth brings its own advertising.
Well, you're having a like if you think about
An experience.
you have instead of having a one meal a day, you have a cafe. So
Exactly.
when I say cafe, I mean instead of having the one set meal a day, you try and cater a bit broader. You work smarter, not harder. You have some different systems. All right, because not everyone wants to come and fill their guts up because they might just be cruising in and out of the food bank, right? They might just want to pick up a barista coffee and a pie, all right? They're happy to get that, or a sushi roll. They don't even want to stick around. They just appreciate you, your smiling face, and they might see some advertising. They might meet a few people and meet like Father Michael or someone. It's a contact point, all right? The more contacts that you have with people, the more you increase your ability to engage, all right? So what I'm thinking is that we have broader services in there, but we don't create more work for ourselves, we work smarter. So if we're doing sushi rolls, pies, we get some more kitchen equipment, we have to experiment with a menu, all right? That's all part of it. I might cock up how to do a sushi roll, I might not know how to do it, all right? Might have to, oh yeah. You can
I know because I do it.
more.
I do it as I did like
All right, hang on. Tell me after. Sorry. But you're broadening it, right? So, all right. So I'm going to go under systems, and I'm going to put up the three categories. Was it 4 categories? Now I have other things to. I'll probably get to it for other areas. I'm not trying to just ideas, but we don't have to go there tonight. And then I'll get into some of the more concrete stuff. So free stuff. I'm just going to put EA. If I say EA, everyone knows what I mean. Yeah? Emergency assistance. So as much food as we can create to give out to those who need it. All right? The cheap stuff. Yeah? So this is stuff that we use as a, I want to say this in a bit of a sales term. A lot of what we do here, we've got to use as a hook. If that makes sense. We've got to offer. When I was studying youth work, they said this is the difference between this job and any other job, right? As a youth worker, most places offer a relationship to give you a service. So a salesperson trying to sell you a car, someone flagging you down, excuse me sir, have you got time for a questionnaire? It's offering a relationship to give you a service, to hook you in, right? The opposite of a youth worker is you offer a service to hook them into a relationship. That's incarnation, right? So we have to have some mediating factor. We have to have something that we have in common to contact and to serve. So food is a great one. Jesus used food to demonstrate his body and blood, right? So we've got to have something that's attractive. We've got to have something that people are going to talk about. Oh, you know what? I went in and had a sushi roll and blah, blah, blah. That was great. The coffees are great. Friendly place, all right? Despite some people like me. And that's a hook. So it's a service. We're trying to hook people in, basically. It's an attraction, all right? There's nothing wrong with it if we have our ethos in our culture, okay? There's nothing wrong with we're not trying to manipulate people, all right? We're offering a service to engage them in a relationship with us and with God, okay? So the cheap stuff, and then I want to get the charity stuff. So the idea of having an upgraded kitchen is, in the future, if we have something, what we're also lacking in our systems and our contacts and our echo chambers is we're kind of only hitting one demographic, okay? People that are coming through word of mouth and food bank and other things are in a certain demographic, okay? They're from a certain background, they're a certain situation in life, pensioners, unemployed, that. We're actually in the heart of an industrial area, all right? I could throw a stone and I could hit 100 workers around here, all right? Do they know what we do? Do they know who we are? Do they know our history? They're probably, different parts of the graveyard and blah, blah, blah. There's some experience there, but there's no real contact. All right? So we want to open up the ability to have contact with them, but also to have them, because of their more fortunate place in life, if they have finances and jobs and things like that. Lots of people are looking at ways of giving back, if they're fortunate. And especially if there's some kind of fair exchange, if we offer a good frozen meal service, right, or we hook them in with other things to come in. I mean, we've got La Crema around the corner. I don't know if you've ever driven past La Crema, but good luck getting a park there. If you know the police are rocking up with their motorcycles day after day in their packs, getting their coffees, you know it's good. You know there's plenty of people there. It's got atmosphere. It's happening. Why can't we tap into that market?
We can have that.
I was thinking.
So that's part of the idea, right? Is to have a charity cafe, a buzz zone where people in the surrounding businesses can either come in, grab a quick lunch, all right? Because guess what? With the cost of living, the cost of houses, the energy crisis, all right, they might be working, but you know what? They might be more financially strapped than other people that have housing trusts, set pensions, set budgets. They're more established. But you get hit with crisis, and guess what? All right, you don't know if you're in over your head. Sometimes you can't get out of things. Car loans and whatever else. You're stuck. Kids, uniforms. So if we can open up to the working in the area as well, that's a part of it. All right, breaking out of our echo chambers, breaking out of our little enclosed systems and doing that outreach. So what we put in these things as far as menu goes, we were talking about it. We've been talking about it for ages. Having upgraded kitchen equipment is very important. Okay, so we don't have 4-rod pots and different stoves cooking at different. You've worked in kitchens for years. You're a chef, Daniel. Okay, yes. I listen to the feedback of someone that's struggling with the stuff that we have. All the little nooks and crannies, I can't always explain. Oh, this pot is for this one works better for that hot plate here. There's all these little things that you have to learn along the way. We should have a better set system, right? So there's more uniformity. You can explain it once, and guess what? They won't forget it. They don't have to know all the little details of down here and up there and this and that, the tricks of the trade, because that took me ages to get my head around. Once we get a bit more established, right, this is not the hard part. Doing building upgrades is the easy part, all right? I know it might feel hard because it's, for some people, all right, because it's change or it's, other people are the driving force and it's costing them more. But this is not the hard part. The hard part is all the engagement, the connecting with people, doing pastoral care, getting involved in situations that are challenging, right? That's what church is called to do, isn't it? That's the hard part. That's the hard part. Doing the building upgrade just to get things a bit up to speed and looking nicer and whatever should be a no-brainer. How am I going for time? Am I going okay? Yeah? You're all good? Just hold off for a sec.
Oh, all right.
No, go.
No, it's fine.
I'm going to look at my notes. Am I making sense?
Yes.
Okay. All right. So, this is just going to be setting a bit of a foundation to actually extend into other areas. All right. I don't know how much to say tonight of some of the other areas. One of the things that I'm really passionate about is, I won't just say just kids because that's just about my kids, but I've been a youth worker since the day I became a Christian, virtually, like when I was 17, right? I was in there in youth groups picking up kids, driving around. That's how me and Lisa have a connection there from her brother. I used to pick him up and he'd sleep over at my house. Jason I know from youth group in Queensland. So been doing it my whole life. When I don't know that there's kids around the place and youth and young adults, I feel like something's not right in the universe. Honestly, like I'm not happy unless they're here. Why aren't they here? Want them here. They're our, I won't say they're our kids. They're God's kids. But, so creating different spaces that's more attractive to younger generations. And we're not going to get it right or be able to do it all in one hit. What I'm laying out is more of a thought process, more of a way of looking at things. So we can journey and go, oh, you know what, Mark, when you thought about painting it this colour, wrong, or like, this is all up for discussion, right? Be a part of it. This is an invitation to be a part of it. What I won't say what I don't want. What isn't helpful is just sitting back and having an opinion, all right? Because that's more of about, it's more, you're making it about you. And Trinity and Incarnation is about being beyond you, yeah? So having that empathy, you're really hanging out. Go for
And
it.
I was just going to say, with the cafe, we can use that to raise money to help the EA and the free and cheap stuff, can't we?
That's the exact point.
Good.
Yep. So part of the so do you want me to talk about this stuff or jump into something else? I'll tell you something else, right? I think that here, and okay, I'll go back and say a little disclaimer, right? There used to be a saying growing up in Pentecostal churches, right? And they used to say, the church is the head and not the tail, right? It's out of scripture, right? What it means is you're the leaders, you're not the followers, all right? Now, lots of churches that I've seen in my time, they were formulaic, they were systems based. So if they were going to do something new, we better have a system first. Right, and our system is to get a paid staff, these many musicians, and have this core group, right? So we have to have the system to do it. And it's to drive me a bit mental because it was like franchising and marketing.
Yeah.
Literally, okay, this is the formula, we're going to build another church or we're going to do whatever. It was a franchise, all right? It wasn't relational, incarnational, it didn't get in touch with the culture and the people in the area.
Sounds like a business plan.
A lot of that, and there's nothing wrong with having business plans, but that comes in the hierarchy. We have the kingdom of God, I've said this before, the ecclesia, the church, the people, the mediating space. Then we have the systems at the bottom. So we get our source from the kingdom of God, from God. We work it out in community, incarnationally, theologically, as a community, and the systems are there to protect us and to help us be efficient, right? We need to know how policies to do things, right? But I'm getting sidetracked, Deb. You did it to me again. The head and not the tail, right? I'm interested in getting ahead of the next problem, structurally, as a church, all right? I don't want to be playing catch up. I don't want to be reactionary. All right, I want to see things, patterns and things before they happen. All right, so that we're ready, so we're prepared. That's what it is to be a prophetic people. All right. That theme of the prophet is if you have a look at, I don't want to get too far into it, but we need to be on the ball. Stop following what the crowd's doing. Listen to God. Be strategic. Be prayerful, and go and do something. Once you start to do it and you get out there in faith and you take a few risks, God will meet you and take you to the next step and the next step and the next step. So, so some of the things that I'm proposing are for future problems even, all right, that I think might be coming, all right. Our generation, our lives have seen the biggest technological advancements and changes in human history. You know how long it took to go from the Stone Age to the Bronze Age? Thousands of years. The Bronze Age to the Iron Age? Hundreds of years. So from these transitions, right now we're going from, phones, black and white TVs, colour TVs, DVDs, internet. Now we're into everything's in the palm of your hand, connectivity.
Computer
Now
chips.
we're into AI, okay? Now we're in a completely different world. We need to be prayerful, prophetic people and the head and not the tail, and be guided on this adventure. We don't have to have the systems in place. The systems are there to protect us, to guide us. The policies about child safe, the policies about food safety, the policies about cleaning. We need that to protect us. But that's the tail, that's not the head. The head is God, the Trinity, who's the source of creativity. All right? All the creative ideas are there. So having said that, I've backtracked a lot to say this. I think that we need to have a little bit more intentionality and thought about having charity and fundraising in a business sense, okay? And we keep our, sorry, did I write charity? I meant, oh, well that charity, sorry, that's more of a business model.
What do you mean?
So if we're going out and we're doing meals to sell at a profit, let's call them partner meals. We go, oh, you know what? Our community centre gives away 150 meals a day, or we know, puts out 100 meals a week or whatever. Blah blah. Would you like to support us? We have a meal. You know, we could get our 3 best meals that we nail our recipes on that are better than anywhere else, better than Aldi, better than any frozen meal. And it's cheaper than them, all right? So there's a benefit there. But the hook is, every time you buy a meal, you're helping to pay for a meal.
Yeah.
The partner meal.
Absolutely.
You're actually participating with us. We're moving down here into participation. Yeah? We've got to be creative. We've got to come up with ideas.
do that though, because they're buying something for themselves with meaning.
There's the
people
hook.
out there looking
Yeah.
for meaningful jobs.
Yeah.
There's a whole website on it.
Yeah.
And feed yourself in a meaningful way.
There you go. That'll give them more incentive and motivation to go there. Not only are we giving them a better food, a better product at a better price, but they're going to be helping raise funds.
Yeah.
You know, and they'll get to come down and see the work because there'll be a cafe there and you know, anyway,
And
so
they're feeding someone else when they buy their meal.
yeah, so we have to manage that and be a little bit more cutthroat with our business ideas and our business stuff, and not intermingle it with our charity. If that makes sense.
Yeah.
So we can't be like, oh, okay, it's you know, you're either, you know, you're a little bit like you're on this side,
You've got to
and
be all in.
you're
You've got to be all in.
right, or we're a little bit you're over
With
here.
a business plan.
All
and
right,
all.
because that needs to feed into that. The better we do that, the better we raise the funds. Make sense? So let's be as smart and as, I won't say stinky, business smart. What did Jesus say? Be as innocent, as wise as a serpent, but as innocent as doves. So we've got our ethos okay, so, but let's be as smart, as wise
And
as a serpent.
also, before you go and undertake something, you weigh it up. Have you got the funds to do it? You know what I mean? He talks about that somewhere. You
Yeah,
know, before you set. Same thing. You need you probably need a semi-business plan,
Yeah.
well,
economically and everything.
yeah.
Bang, and that's out there, and then just jump in.
We do need a business plan in
Yeah.
different areas. This is just a kickstart, okay? This is just the beginning, all right? If we can't get this off the ground, God help us, all right? Anyway, yep,
This is making me think of when we first started the picket fence 33 years ago. We had to step out in faith then,
yeah,
not really knowing where it was going.
yeah.
And yet here we are,
And
33
the-
years
The
later.
great thing is that if you look at what a generational age is 30 years.
We can learn
So
how
every-
we did it, and then we
Every
can,
30 years, we kind of need a renewal movement. So we wouldn't be able to do this or talk here or be here if you guys didn't step out there. And this is where having our focus on the next generation and youth and kids is we also need to give their calling and their gifts agency. That's the word. Agency. So that we don't have everything stitched up. We need to give them room to be able to make some decisions and changes, and I want to do over here, bloody blah.
Freedom.
All right. That's where it's, you can't have, some people have made a great point here and saying, well, we need an endpoint in a business plan, you need to have goals and da-da-da. That's what I mean about you putting the systems ahead of the kingdom of God. Because we're stepping out in faith, and we're stepping out with an ethos and a culture. All right? We're not starting with systems. All right? We don't know, because we have to be...
Send out a couple of missionaries to buy a coffee at the Cram around the corner and spread the word.
Well, one of the things that was I'll finish up real soon and we'll open up the dialogue. But one of the things that I really wanted as a younger person that was called to ministry was I wanted God to be able to pick me up and drop me anywhere in the world, in any place, in any culture, in any, I won't say time in history because that's not real, but I wanted to be able to go put somewhere, and I wanted to be able to start a church from scratch, even in a hostile environment. I wanted to have the tools, the wisdom, the faith, whatever it was. I didn't want to rely on systems and money, we've got to get, a core group of people together and have a formula. There's churches out there doing it. All right? Good on them. Well done. All right? That's not what, I can't do it. We don't have, it's not working that way. This is what we've got. It's different.
Mark,
Now-
are you going to talk a bit about buildings?
Yeah, okay. So,
Yeah.
exactly. All right, let's get into some concrete stuff. So, ground level truth. All right, you guys know what ground level truth is?
Nope.
All right. So, great example, World War I, one of the greatest massacres in human history, meat grinder. All right. You had generals that come from high class places that became officers, and they were sitting there drinking their tea 100 miles behind enemy lines, making strategic calls from imperfect information. Another wave of men into the meat grinder. All right. When I was serving in the reserves in the infantry, they had a changeover of the general of the army. The old guy went, and the new guy came in, was an ex-SAS guy. So he had served multiple combat tours in Afghanistan and Iraq. A real life kind of Rambo figure, And you know what they started? They started to change this straight away. Right? First thing they're doing. What you guys are teaching the grunts on the ground, inefficient. All right? They started to come up with new systems. All right? Because it was ground level truth feeding back up. It wasn't a top-down system imposed from below. So, ground level truth. Make sense? So reality of, I don't like this over there and blah, blah, blah. Okay, you might not be here every day working. You're not working in the kitchen. You're not meeting people for the first time. You're not having possible conflict. You're not meeting people under the influence, mental health, all that stuff. You're not seeing people come to that building and open the door and look in and walk away. All right? I see that. All right? And I don't blame them. All right? I know how rough some people look. All right? And I know how people have social anxieties. I know people have, what's it called, agoraphobia? Social anxieties? Yeah. So, I'm not saying we're going to be able to fix everything all the time. We're not. One of the things that I want to do is by having a new space in there, it enhances, if we do the changeover, so the op shop moves in here, okay? It enhances the footprint of the op shop and the retail space, the aesthetics. All right, you have these full windows that people can look in. That's an op shop. Hang on. Do you know how many people come? Where are the op shop? Where's the op shop? It's like, sign here, sign. Okay, yeah, all the time. It's the bane of our existence, right? The op shop should be signed. It should be open, light, bright, plenty of space.
And windows.
Right? We've got windows. This is perfect, right? And the thing about op shops is you can have walls from the 80s. All right, because this is in a different space. This is a bit more quirky and vintage and charming. You get away with it in op shop. It's cool, right?
Yeah, true.
Different space, different zone, right? Works for the space. It'll give us a more secure change room. All right, we could build change rooms in the back there so you don't have people being uncomfortable. All right. Having, I've talked about the cafe style and having us to be able to offer a wider service in that space. All right. So the ability to go, someone's in here to shop. All right. It's like, oh, do you want to? The way that we engage people, we've contacted them. They've come in here. We've contacted them. Do you want to come for lunch? Oh, I don't have time. Or I can't wait till 12 o'clock. Because everything happens at 12 o'clock. All right. If you have a cafe, do you want to come for a coffee? It's 11 o'clock, 10:30. Do you want to come and get a sushi roll?
No.
A pie? I don't want to get here that early. They've got to drop you at school. So it widens that area of engagement. Okay, from contact to engagement, right? We can enhance the outdoor area. All right, we can make that sexy. We can have possibly like a pizza oven out there.
Set up.
We can have atmosphere lights. All right, lighting.
Escape room.
This lighting is not sexy. All right, it's not romantic. If I'm going on a date with my wife, we don't be looking at each other under fluoro lights. All right, you go to a cafe, you go to atmosphere. You want dim lighting. You want lighting. You want plants. You know, you want paint, vibrancy. Yeah, you want to engage with people with your space, right? We don't have to have notice boards. We've got a TV mounted there. We can run our advertisements for Table Talk and the church and Feast of Consecration. Run it on the TV screen. All right. Flooring. Now we've looked at carpet tiles. Ground level truth. This place gets packed in here. It's noisy as anything. All right. You put the music on to give atmosphere. You get enough people talking. The way the sound goes around this space, it's not great. All right. You put floor tiles down, carpet tiles. It absorbs the sound. All right. We start to put. We've got some.
Not in here though. You
No.
sound like you're saying in here.
Sorry, in here because it doesn't in here at the moment.
But we're
We
talking-
go we enhance the new space, better for sound. All right, more warmer.
Will the carpet tiles be okay for food? Because you know food's going to get spilled on the floor in the cafe.
Same as a
It-
restaurant. you
It's,
know.
it's the same. It's the same here.
Yeah, it does.
So we'd have to clean it a bit differently, but you would have less chance of a spillage causing an accident. All right. So you have a spillage here. You have people that shakes or they spill their coffee everywhere or whatever you have happen. All of a sudden you've got to drop everything and mop it so that we don't have an accident. All right. You have carpet tiles down. You have a spillage. Okay, I'll get to it later. All right. It's safer. All right. Okay, where am I going? Op shop. So we don't. The thing that I voted to get through in the parish council, because part of the grand scheme was just too many questions, and this is part of starting the dialogue, is all we've got through the vote was to move the op shop in here and here in there and update the kitchen. So the only real changes that we're having is Father Williams' office. Father Williams not here anymore. The priest's office will just go somewhere else. There's a spare office. No dramas. Update the kitchen. We haven't looked at what we're going to do with the actual office spaces. All right. Or what we're going to do with the op shop space. All right. Part of my idea is to move our EA, our offices that people come in to receive vouchers and help and counselling and things like that, is to move it into that space. All right. That way there's a separate building that they don't have to come into a crowd, all right, to get emergency assistance. Privacy, all right, and respecting, people's privacy, So having a separate place, and also if we have that place spare, that'd be great to turn into a youth space or a lounge room space, all right? So if you think right now, the only places you have to sit to have community is in here or the benches out there, all right? But if you go to the ideas is you have the indoor space, which is nice and schmick, new tables, more room, all right? You have the outdoor space, which will be, we could possibly have an enclosed and an open area. We could enhance the back area and have a gate out there, to be able to sign and encourage people in from the commercial area. You could have that front section of the op shop building with a glass door out that way with the lounge area. So the pool table, arcade machines, PlayStation, everything that would attract young people and make young people want to come and spend time here, right, to start to do youth groups, all right? That's that space. Now that was floated 10 years ago when I was here. Do you remember that, Narita?
It was going to be over in the engineering shed though.
I thought they were going to do it in there.
No.
Well,
No, it was going to be in the engineering shed because no one was doing needlework anymore.
So the idea to make space for youth has been on the table. So this is a possibility. It's a possibility. I'm only floating ideas. Let it flow over you, be stimulated, go, I think you're crazy or good idea, whatever. And then you could have the EA office down this end. So you could have a door from the lounge room space to come through, or you could use the existing op shop door there to give its own private entrance. You could go into a reception desk area. You can have first contact with someone in a professional setting and then go back to a room that has a therapeutic setup, you know. So it's not like this office here that I've kept as a complete mess for 3 years. It'll be a therapeutic space. Like we've got that set up a bit
I
nicer
think
in
it's
the office.
important to say that these are only ideas at the moment.
Of course.
The only definite thing is moving into there, into the hall, and the op shop moving in here. All these other ideas still need to be refined and go to parish council.
Of course. Yep, that's why my disclaimer was the only thing we've got through the parish council was those moves.
Yeah.
All right. This is opening up ground level truth for ideas of working the spaces most effectively. All right. Don't forget we've got this space. We've got the urban farm that might need some renewal. You know, the op shop will have some renewal here. We've got the project centre. So we've got the urban farm, the project centre. They're all in need of some renewal or something. Okay, so this is just the beginning. Nothing's set in concrete. This is an invitation to be part of a process. Please come along. Don't just have ideas and, you know, like if you've got ideas, it's great. But don't just dump them on people that already have a full load. All right? If it's your idea and it's from God, you know what? You might be the one to do it. All right? Or mentor someone to do it. All right? Like, there's more to it than just leaving it to the paid people or the experts or the volunteers or whatever. Like, this is not a two-tiered system where the volunteers do everything, all right? That old school mentality of service delivery culture, gone. It's participation, all right? That's why Table Talk, we've gone into go and help yourself like at home, right? We're not doing the whole here you go, all right? Because we've gone not from service delivery, we've gone into family, right? Strategic. It's not I'm too lazy to. Part of it's I'm too lazy to do it, all right? It's working smarter and not harder,
Yep.
all right? If that works and that's cool, and it works, do it, all right? Part of us moving that table around and not having the line up here like we used to have, hated it, man. All right, I hated seeing people line up for food. All right, like a soup kitchen. All right, no dignity. Let us wait on you. All right, let us restore the office of the deacon. What was the first thing the church did? Right, we waited on tables. Guess what, guys? You're deacons now. All right, come with problems. Yeah, big problems. Right, but the first martyrdom came out of that. All right, the first shed blood. You know, Tertullian said the blood of the martyrs is the seed of the church. Right? So we're not just serving food here, we're doing spiritual warfare. Right? We're building things in the unseen realm as well. All right? It's more going on than what meets the eye sometimes. I'm going to stop there. All right.
So what's the plan for moving everything? How's it going to... Because have you been improved? Has the finance been improved to set up? Because that's the biggest part.
Great.
Setting up the kitchen.
Yep, great question. So, great question.
Has that finance been improved?
So, we've got an offer in on I told you about the liquidated restaurant.
Yeah.
We can cover that, all right? The older generation have been really good with money, all right? And this is kind of the day. Like, when I was at the deanery meeting, which was all the churches in the area that went and listened to the Archdeacon, who's now Bishop Sophie, she ran through all similar kind of stuff about you guys need to get active. If you've got money in the bank, don't leave it there. You need to get moving, you need to get missional, you need to get engaged with the community, you need to get ideas. Take risks, get out there. I remember John Stevenson came here early on when I was back here, and I listened to his sermon because I'm listening with all these ears, right? And he said, I wish I'd taken more risks. He said, I wish I'd taken more risks, right?
Yeah.
So let's not be scared of taking risks. We don't have to be reckless. They're calculated risks. You think them through. But you know what? If you're only going to play it safe, you're never going to move into that realm of faith, which is it's out of your control, out of your rational ability to make it happen. It's got to be God. Sorry, I'm rambling now. So that kitchen equipment is not going to do everything that we wanted to do.
Yeah.
But for the price, for 10 grand, all right, how much you think they would have spent for that brand new? 100 grand?
At least probably 150 I would have thought.
Yeah.
And the reason is there's so many new fridges.
And that's not going to do everything you need.
Oh, it's
Not
pretty close,
everything.
Pretty close.
How many new fridges were there?
Got a 3.
There are probably 4 big fridges and about 6 smaller fridges plus rice cookers.
And what's that still
microwaves,
is that still
a full-
available?
a full-
We
That's
can
all-
we can
that's
stop
all
the recording now. We
Yeah.
can just